Now let's talk about earnings per share. Imagine a pizza representing a company's total earnings. Now, let's slice that pizza into equal portions, with each slice representing one share of the company's stock. The earnings per share is like the amount of pizza each shareholder gets to enjoy. Here's an analogy. Picture a pizza that represents a company's profits. The whole pizza is the total earnings of the company. Now, if you divide that pizza among the shareholders, each slice representing one share of stock, the size of each slice would be analogous to the earnings per share. So, if the company makes more money, which means the pizza gets bigger, each shareholder gets a larger slice, which means a higher earnings per share. Earnings per share is a financial metric that calculates the portion of a company's profit allocated to each outstanding share of common stock. It is calculated by dividing the company's net income by the number of outstanding shares. So let's take a look at AMD's income statement. To calculate AMD's December 30, 2023 EPS, the equation used will be net income over basic number of shares. And that's equals to the figure 667 over 1616. And that gives us an EPS of 0.41. But remember, this is the basic EPS. And you can see next to this is net income over diluted number of shares. And it's calculated as 667 over 1628. And it's also kind of the same, 0.41. But do note that sometimes the equation for EPS is net income minus preferred dividends over the weighted average number of common shares. The only difference is that if the company gives out the dividends, we just deduct that from the net income because that's essentially where they get the money to give out the dividends to their shareholders, which is the net income or the profit margin that they make as a company. Basic earnings per share is a metric that evaluates a company's profit per share, focusing exclusively on common shares, whereas diluted earnings per share considers all convertible securities such as convertible preferred shares, debt, equity options, and warrants. The calculation involves subtracting preferred dividends from net income and then dividing by the weighted average of outstanding shares and potential dilutive securities, which I've talked about earlier in the definition. Why do we need to know about EPS as an investor? It's because it allows investors to compare the financial performance of different companies on a per share basis. It provides insight into how efficiently a company is generating profits relative to its outstanding shares. So that gives us a bit of about profitability comparison over time. It also used as a key factor in making investment decisions. A company with a higher EPS is generally more attractive because it indicates that each share is entitled to a larger portion of the company's profits. EPS is essential for valuation metrics like the price to earnings ratio, which we will talk about later in the next video. And also EPS helps investors assess a company's earnings growth because if we monitor the changes in EPS over time, we will see if the company is actually continually getting consistent growth in EPS, and it's often a positive sign which signals a healthy and potentially lucrative investment.